So this video is going to cover how to softmod your original Xbox using the Rocky 5 softmod tools, and then install a 2TB hard drive in it, so you will be able to store every single Xbox game ever released in North America, and also have enough room to store about 10,000 retro ROMs like N64, Sega, Super Nintendo. And finally, I'll also show you how to install the dashboard emulation station, also developed by Rocky 5, so that you can seamlessly launch all your games from one menu. So we're going to start off with one of the exploitable games. I chose Splinter Cell, an SD card that's low capacity and a USB reader, a Xbox USB adapter, an IDE to SATA adapter, and then a 2TB hard drive or lower, an 80-pin IDE cable, and a 2-jack power Molex. You're going to want a screwdriver set with a Torx kit and some screwdrivers. So we're going to start off with formatting our SD card. I use an SD card because the old digital cameras had low capacity SD cards which were compatible with the Xbox. Some USB sticks will work, but it varies from brand to brand. So generally what you got to do is just set up your SD card. I'm using just a basic SD card reader, and I plug that into my Xbox USB adapter. All the links are in the description. Now this SD card didn't work because it was too large or the brand wasn't correct. So I'm going to go with a smaller size, which was 256, and lo and behold, it works. So once you see it show up on your Xbox, it automatically formats it to FATX, which is the format system that we use, or the Xbox uses. So now we're going to jump to the computer and we're going to set up the files that we need to transfer to the Xbox. We're going to start with extracting Explorer 360, and then we're also going to extract the softmod files from Rocky 5. So we're going to go into the build, the softmod tools, softmod package, then open up the softmod save, and inside UData you'll see a number folder. Extract that. Then go back. You're going to want to go to the game that you have. I have Splinter Cell American version. Again, go into UData, copy over the numbered folder to your desktop, and then you're going to want to plug in your SD card to your computer. It's going to prompt you to format it and that it's not a recognized file system. Ignore these two prompts and then open up Explorer 360. Do not run Explorer 360 as administrator, and then select drive and then memory card. Once you see partition 0, you'll be able to drag and drop the two numbered folders into the right hand side of the app. Once you see it show up, you can exit out and we can jump back to our Xbox. So once we're at our Xbox, we're going to plug in the SD card. Once we see it, we're going to copy over our files to the Xbox hard drive, starting with Splinter Cell. Once you copy it to your hard drive, we'll go and copy over the softmod tools. Now each game is a little bit different on how you launch the exploit, but generally you're just trying to launch the save file. In Splinter Cell, what you got to do is boot the game. So we'll pop that in and let it load. And then we're going to start a new game, or start game, and you'll see Linux show up. Once this boots, you're going to see that we're in the softmodding tool, and just follow the screens, generally pressing A and reading all the prompts that come up and that you understand. Once this completes, you're going to have yourself a soft-modded Xbox with an 8GB hard drive, which is pretty much useless in this day and age. So this is what your new Xbox looks like. So we're going to jump back to our computer and we're going to go back into the Rocky 5. We're going to go extract the ISO in extras disk, and we're just going to copy over that ISO and we're going to burn it to a DVD-R. This is the quickest and easiest way I find. You can also FTP it to your Xbox if you so choose, which I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. But right now we're just going to copy this over to whatever burning software you have and burn it at the slowest speed. Now this is times 6 is what my disk will support, so we'll go with that. I'll fast forward a little bit, and then once that's complete, we'll go back to our Xbox. Now we don't want to launch the game right away, we want to get it set up, so we're going to take it apart and install the 2 TB hard drive first. So it's not too hard to take the Xbox apart. It's a Torx 6-bit, I believe, and it's 6 screws for the main shell to take apart. So once you take all 6 screws out, and make sure you got all 6, I forgot one, as you can see here. We'll take that apart. There we go. There's another Torx bit right in the middle of the Xbox, as you can see. We'll take that out, and then there's 2 bits holding in the disk drive, which we'll take that out as well. Now if you got an earlier version of Xbox, you're going to take out the clock capacitor. You don't need to solder, just grab yourself a pair of pliers, and you could tell that it's the one capacitor that looks a little bit different than all the others, and it's probably already leaking if you have it. So just yank that right out and make sure everything's clean. In my case, it wasn't too bad. We're going to remove the IDE cable and replace it with the 80-pin IDE cable. If you don't do this, most likely your hard drive won't boot and you'll get an error. So we'll reinstall the DVD drive. Now this part is a little bit sketchy because you got to set up your hard drive and your original hard drive all at once. Now my IDE cable isn't as long as it should be, so you'll see in the video I'm going to have to do a little bit of maneuvering to get them both to plug in at once. So I'm going to take the power cord from the Xbox and plug it into the 2-power IDE so I could power both hard drives at once. I'm going to plug that into the back of the hard drive. I'm going to make sure everything boots up, and it does. And this is what the Xbox soft modding tool disk looks like. You're going to want to install Chimp, which is under Advanced Tools, and you're going to want to either install that to C or E drive, doesn't really matter. Then we're going to restart our Xbox with the disk out. We're going to go to Applications and launch Chimp just to make sure it worked. So now that we know that it works, we're going to install the SATA IDE adapter, plug it into the power, and plug that into our hard drive. You're also going to make sure the adapter is set to slave. And we can see that the power works. Now I'm having a problem trying to have my hard drive, both hard drives plugged in at the same time using the IDE cable. But if you have the longer one, which I got a link in the description, you shouldn't have this problem. But with some maneuvering, I got it all set up. Because you're going to be able to boot your Xbox with the DVD drive plugged in originally, and then be able to swap to your new hard drive when you see the Chimp screen once you launch the Chimp app. So you'll see I'm doing it right now. I've got the DVD drive plugged in. I turn on the Xbox, launch Chimp, and then once I get to the screen, I plug in the new hard drive with the power already connected. Then press A and you should get the following screens. So once your hard drive is detected by Chimp, it'll go through the initialization process. So once you're prompted, you're going to want to choose Softmod Xbox and go through yes and yes. Then we're going to clone from master to slave. Then we're going to do a selective. We're going to do C, E, F, and G. And then we're going to do custom size F, and G gets the rest. Confirm format, yes. Now this should take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Once it's complete, you will have your 2TB hard drive as an exact clone as your original Xbox's hard drive. So once it's done, it'll prompt you to lock, and then we're going to lock the hard drive. So once the hard drive is locked, we're going to be able to reassemble our Xbox. We're going to start off with reassembling the hard drive bay. So we're going to take the old hard drive out and put in our new 2TB hard drive, and then we're going to put back the disk drive and then the hard drive. When you're reassembling the IDE adapter, make sure you reset the jumper setting so it's set to master, or your Xbox won't boot. Everything looks to be fine, but we're going to scroll down to System and then File Explorer, and you can see that we don't have any of the new storage except for 120 gigs in F drive. We should have 2 terabytes. So what we're going to do is boot up the Xbox Softmodding tool disk. We're going to go to the Advanced menu, and we're going to install XB Partitioner. And you could either install it to C drive or E drive, it doesn't really matter. But once that installs, we're going to launch that app. That app is going to allow us to repartition our hard drive and to how we'd like to have our new storage. So I usually set up it so that F and G are split up evenly, and I don't mess around with the top options there. So you'll see you could either have it all on one drive, all on the other drive, or split up evenly. I'm going to split it up evenly between E and F, and then start Y to continue. This should only take a minute or two to complete, and then once it does, you'd either press back a few times to restart your Xbox or just restart your Xbox. So once we restart our Xbox, we're going to go back to our System, File Explorer, just to make sure we have all our stuff, and we do. So now we're going to install a new dashboard. Launch the Softmod tool disk again. We're going to install dashboard, and then we're going to install the emulation station to either, well, I install it to the E drive because it's going to be my main dashboard. Once this installs and you launch it for the first time, it'll give you some information on how to set up and where to place your ROMs and your emulators. Emulators you don't need to worry about, but your ROMs you do. So what we're going to do is set up our screen, which you'll get this option if it's your first time booting. Once this is set up, we're going to go to Options and look for Network. And we're going to look for the IP address that's been assigned to our Xbox. If you don't have your Xbox plugged into your router, do so now, and then you'll be able to get the IP address, or else you probably won't see one. Once you have the IP address of your Xbox, we can jump to our computer, and we're going to download the app FileZilla. Once we open up FileZilla, you type in the IP address of your Xbox, and then the password and username is Xbox. You're going to click Quick Connect, and you should be able to access your Xbox's hard drive this way. Then we're going to want to drag and drop all the files that we need. So the folder structure for your ROMs, all your ROMs should be in one folder called ROMs, and then in that folder you separate your ROMs for each individual console. So if you got the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, each gets its individual folder. For the box art, you're going to want to have a folder called Media, and then inside that folder you're going to have the exact same name for your consoles that you did in your ROMs folder, so N64, Sega, Super Nintendo, etc. Then inside those folders you'll have a folder for box art 3D, logo, mix, screenshots, and videos. So you'll want to put your cover art inside box art 3D, etc., etc. And you have to do this for each individual console. Now when I'm transferring a whole bunch of small files, I find that the Xbox errors out, and pretty much all you have to do is turn off your Xbox and turn it back on if you get this issue. which if you're transferring a lot of files, you will. So once your Xbox boots up, you want to press menu or start, and then you want to auto scan your ROMs. Now for me, it always threw out an error when I had N64 ROMs on there. You also want to set up custom paths if you didn't put it in the E drive like it originally wants you to. So for my Xbox, I did a custom path for both the ROMs and media. So what you got to do is just direct them to where you put it, whether it be on the F drive or G drive. Once that's complete, you should have all your ROMs showing up right off the main screen. So for me, not all the cover art worked. I'm not going to delve into it too deeply right now. I just want you to see that this all works. And then last but not least, we're going to go down to our Xbox section, which was the majority of the transfer. I'll show you all the other ones. Xbox. So I got 871 games on here. So pretty much the full collection. There's probably a couple errors in the transfer, but I'm just going to go through and make sure everything works out, and so far so good. So hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, like and subscribe. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And again, everything you need is linked in the description below.